Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Monday morning kickstart. I hope you guys all had a fantastic weekend, and let's get this week off to a flying start. So this week I want to tell you a little story, and this is a story about how my first date went with my now wife, but how our first date went. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, my wife is was Venezuelan, but she's been living in Tenerife since she was a little kid, so she's pretty much Canarian. Anyway, we went on our first date. Met up on Tinder, went on our first date, and she knew that I was an English teacher. So she told me that she couldn't speak any English at all. I was like, okay, this is going to be good for my Spanish. Now, this was, we've been together for 8 years now. So this was 8 years ago. I had just moved to Spain. So my Spanish was not great. I'd say it was like somewhere between pre-intermediate and intermediate level, like A2, B1 level. So we had this first date, and she's like, no, I don't speak any English. So, I struggled through in Spanish. There was lots of gesticulating, lots of getting the phone out and translating things and showing pictures. But, it went well. We're married now, so something went right. But it wasn't until our third date that she said, okay, Cheryl, ask me something in English. I was like, oh, okay. So I asked her, because she said like she had zero English. I was like, I'll ask you an elementary question. I was like, what's your favorite color? She's like, no, ask me something more difficult. I was like, oh, okay. So I asked her, I was like, what, I don't know why this question sprang to mind, but it was the first thing that popped into my head was, what is the scariest thing that has ever happened to you? She then proceeded to tell me in like this C1 level perfect English the story of being held at gunpoint in Venezuela in a car. They tried to kidnap her and like pull her out of a car, and she was held at gunpoint at like 7 years old or something, which is a traumatic, incredibly scary and horrible experience. But she explained it perfectly in English with all this very kind of specific and obscure vocabulary, and my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my god, I've been struggling for the past couple of dates to speak in Spanish when you have this amazing level of English. And she said to me, and this is not the first time I've heard this, she said, Cheryl, but yes, tengo vergüenza, which is Spanish for like, I'm embarrassed. I feel shame. I have shame. No, I'm embarrassed because you're an English teacher, and I was absolutely terrified of making a mistake in front of you, and that you were going to laugh at me and make fun of me and slag me off. To slag someone off is a slang word in English. To slag someone off means to make fun of someone. So that was the reason she didn't want to speak English with me. And it's happened with several of her friends as well who've passed Cambridge Advanced. One of her friends passed Cambridge Advanced when they were like 16 years old. And again, she speaks perfect English, but not once have we had a conversation in English together. There's a bit of grammar for you. What grammar was that? Not once have we had a conversation in English together. 10 points if you said inversion. So, yeah, we've never spoken in English because, again, same thing. She's like, but I'm embarrassed. I'm scared to speak English. My English isn't good enough, even at this kind of very high level. I hear this all the time. My English isn't good enough. I'm embarrassed. I don't want people to make fun of me. Now, this is a normal reaction. Kind of going back to our our caveman days. No? We have science stuff, but you have a part of your brain that has what we call in English your fight or flight response to something. Your fight or flight response, sometimes fight, flight, or freeze. So this is the part of your brain that is protecting you, that's keeping you safe. So like in caveman times, if a big lion jumped out in front of you, you're either going to fly, run away, you're going to fight, you're going to fight it, or some people are going to freeze, play dead. No? So this is a response kind of that has been built into us for millions of years. And it's very hard to not listen to that. You know, it's automatic. It's a very strong response. The same response if you're about to step out in front of a car and your brain's going to stop you doing that. So this fight or flight response is there to protect us. And back in kind of caveman times, to protect you from the big lions and things, you needed to be part of a group, a part of a community that's going to keep you safe, that's going to help each other. So by doing something that was bad for the community, that was a scary thing to do, because you might be excommunicated. You might be thrown out of the community, and then you're going to die because you're going to get eaten by the big lion and there's no one there to protect you. So often when we have this feeling of I'm embarrassed, I'm scared that people are going to make fun of me, it's kind of coming from that we're going to be made fun of and we're going to be thrown out of the group and we're going to be eaten by a lion. That's kind of what our brain's telling us, that kind of fear of rejection, and our brain is trying to protect us from that. It's persuading us to avoid that risk so that we don't die. So it's a natural, normal response. However, it's something that once we become aware of that, then we can start to kind of think in a more logical way about things, in a more human way. So a good question to ask yourself is, when you have a reaction, a response to something, like in this situation here, like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed, I'm worried. Think to yourself, do I want these feelings? Or do I want these thoughts? And if the answer is no, then you're probably thinking with the part of your brain that is in charge of those fight and flight responses, okay? If you're feeling all scared about speaking and you're absolutely terrified before your exam, or if you have to give an important meeting at work and you're thinking, do I want to feel like this? God, no. Then that is that caveman response, okay? So once we can kind of flick the switch and think, okay, we don't want the caveman response, we want the kind of logical human response. We can start thinking about things in a more logical way. So how do we deal with this? So the first thing that I want you to change your mind about is mistakes, okay? Mistakes are fantastic. Mistakes are great. Mistakes are the things that are going to help you improve your level of English, improve your fluency, improve your vocabulary, improve your confidence, okay? Without mistakes, we're going to stay inside our kind of comfort zone. We're going to stay in our happy place. And we're always going to keep using the same basic vocabulary, and we're never going to improve. We want to push outside our comfort zone, okay? We want to push your limits. We want to try new things. We want to try new grammar. We want to have that uncomfortable feeling of like, oh, this is new. This is scary. Because that's how you're going to grow and expand and get better. Okay? So the speaking sessions that you guys have on the course, these are your kind of safe, happy space to try that. To go out there and try new things and practice new things. and take note of like, oh, that was really difficult. I need to practice that a little bit more. Okay? In the real world, okay, so outside of classes, in the real world, for me, I think the most important thing is prioritizing communication, prioritizing your fluency over accuracy. So obviously in exams and things, this works a little bit more differently. But in the real world, the reason you're learning English is to be able to communicate and get a message across. So if you're freezing, or if you're fleeing, fight, flight, or freeze, because you're worried about what that other person thinks about you or what they're going to say, then we're not going to get our message across. And we're not going to either get the burger in the restaurant that we wanted to order. Maybe we're just going to order something online instead because we're too scared to speak in the restaurant. Or we're not going to give that presentation at work, maybe not get that promotion, maybe not meet our new boyfriend, girlfriend, future wife, future partner, future husband, or future friend, because we're either running away, we're freezing and avoiding the situation, or we're fighting about it. We get defensive about our mistakes that we're making. So just imagine how many opportunities we can miss out on by responding with that kind of caveman response, instead of just thinking mistakes are good. Mistakes means I'm trying. And you might also notice that people, although we build it up in our head, we kind of think, again, with that caveman thing that we're going to be thrown out of the group, we build up this idea in our head that the people are going to make fun of us, people are going to laugh at us, or maybe because of situations that have happened in the past. And we build it up and we build it up and we build it up. But then it very rarely actually happens that you're going to speak in English and that person's going to point and laugh at you and tell you that you're horrible at English, okay? What we think of in our head is usually way worse than the situation. Like I can remember when I was about 20 and I was living next door to this little old lady and she was like, well, for me, I think she was about 80 or something. I was living next to this little old lady. She was a lovely little old lady, and I really like little old ladies. I love going and having a cup of tea with them and stuff. And she was always asking me, she's like, oh, Cheryl, are you courting? Courting is the old-fashioned granny word for dating. No? Are you dating anyone? I'm like, no, I'm not. But actually, I was living with my girlfriend next door. But I was absolutely petrified to tell her this because I thought, because she's an old lady, she's going to be super homophobic and she's going to be disgusted with me and she's never going to speak to me again and it's going to be horrible and I'm going to see her every day because I'm living next to her. So I hid this part of me and I was always just lying to her basically because of this. And then eventually one day, we came out of the house, came out the door at the same time, and she was like, "Oh, is this your friend?" And I said to her, "I was like, no, actually, this is my girlfriend," and she barely even blinked. She was just like, "Oh, that's nice, dear," and kind of continued on talking about the weather as British people do, and I was just like, oh my God, I have for about a year, built this thing up in my head as this huge problem that she's going to have this dramatic response to, but actually nothing happened at all. And this often happens with learning English, that we think that someone is going to belittle us, laugh at us, slag us off. But actually, it never actually happens. And if it does happen, well, that says a whole lot about that person rather than you. I mean, do you ever watch these programs on TV? Like, I've been watching recently the, what's it called? Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, but the Spanish version with Chicote's Kitchen Nightmares. And like, when you watch people like shouting and screaming at someone for doing something wrong, you don't think badly of the person doing something wrong. You think badly of the person who's shouting and screaming and slagging someone off. You're like, oh my God, how embarrassing are they? Like, what a dick, basically. So it's usually the opposite that happens. If someone laughs at you for the way you speak in English, they're the dick. They're the person that everybody's like, oh my God, like, how rude, how unprofessional, what bad character that person has. Like, they're the people that are looked negatively upon, whereas you are looked positively on for trying, speaking in another language, having a go, stepping outside your comfort zone, handling that situation in a professional way. The positives are all on you. The negatives are all on that dick who was speaking like that. So that's another way that I want you to kind of think of it if you get that fear of what other people think of you. And finally, I think that, or at least in my experience, when you do something new or scary, or when you open up and when you kind of show yourself and you're vulnerable in front of people, that they don't usually make fun of you. They actually respect you more and kind of warm to you. And you generally find that people actually have stronger connections and stronger relationships because of that openness and that vulnerability. So again, this is nothing to do with exam English. Yeah, in exams we have to be accurate and we have to show off. But in the real world, if you, instead of being like, oh, I'm embarrassed to speak, if you have a go, you're probably going to find that you connect with people more, that you perhaps make a new friend or a new partner, or you have a really kind of nice moment with someone that you wouldn't have had if you had not shown that vulnerability. Okay? So that's my kind of food for thought for this week. Something for you guys to think about. Okay? Mistakes are great. If someone else is slagging you off, they're a bit of a dick, and it shows more about them than it does about you. And that showing that vulnerable side and pushing outside your comfort zone is actually going to help you connect with people better in the long run. Okay? I hope you find that useful. Let me know in the Telegram group what your kind of main takeaway was from that today. And I will see you guys in the speaking sessions, where I expect to hear lots of mistakes being made. Guys, take care. Have a good one. We'll speak soon.